name is Lulamile Chali, Subject Advisor for EMS from Ora Tambo Inland District. Welcome to the ECDOE Process Studio. Today's lesson is about the production process. I will be covering this topic for your full understanding. The first topic will be the production process. And before we go straight to that, at the end of this lesson, learners at home expect to understand the concept of production process and its importance in creating goods and services. Again, to recognize different types of inputs, that is labor, capital, raw materials, and technology that are used in the production process. Again, to comprehend the concepts of outputs and how they are measured in quality and in quantity. To analyze the different stages of production process on how they relate to each other, and also to evaluate the relationship between the inputs and outputs, including waste reduction and improving efficiency. Now, these are supposed to be covered in this whole lesson. That is production, inputs, outputs, production process, factors of production, sustainable use of resources, economic growth, productivity, technology in the production process. You have already learned how entrepreneurs make profit by creating goods and services that they can sell to consumers in the last chapters. And this process of making goods and services is known as what? As production. You have to understand, first of all, the concept production. What is production? Production is the process of extracting or taking raw materials and transforming them into useful goods and services. What is to extract? To extract raw materials is to change or to remove something from nature and changing them into a product. Let's come now to another term, which is inputs and outputs. What are inputs in the first place? Inputs are the resources used to create goods and services. Now, what are inputs? Let's say for argument's sake, if you want to make something, you have to contribute. It's something that you bring in towards that particular product that you want to make. For instance, in my right hand, you will see that when you contribute, you bring in metal or as an input to make what? To make a steel. And also you contribute or you bring an input as a fabric to make what? To make clothing. Again, to contribute by a flour to make all the baked products, such as bread, sandwiches, and so forth. You contribute by bringing in the steel to make what? To make cars. Those are the inputs towards that particular product that you want to make. Now, what are outputs? Remember, inputs goes hand in gloves with what? With outputs. Now, what are outputs say? Yeah, I think you're asking that question at home. Outputs are the final products or services resulting from the production process. And outputs are the end results. Outputs are what you get at the end of what has been contributed of the production process. And their quality is also very, very important. And the value and the relevance that can bring an impact to customer satisfaction and business success. Okay, let me set an example of outputs. Let's say, for argument's sake, you've got a monitor, a computer. Now, you do everything in the computer, but in terms of getting a voice or receiving a voice, you have to use what? Speakers, headphones, projector to project a document that you typed here, there. You have a printer to take out the products. Those are the outputs of the monitor that you are using towards that particular thing you are doing. Let's say, for argument's sake, you were typing a speech, and that speech, you want to print it there at the end of that particular exercise. You type it, you connect those things, the printer, you use the cable and other things. At the end of the day, you receive that document out of the printer. It's an what? It's an output of what you did in the computer. Let's move, learners at home. Let's come now to what is called the production process. What is a production process? It is the method that the business make for products and services. A productive process is quite a good process where a company's production process is the set of steps and procedures that are carried out to transform raw materials into finished goods. Remember the word production process. It's a process production. What do you do to produce? It's a process. There are things involved when you are doing production. It's a process. You don't just go quickly to the end product. Now let's see this example underneath. Inputs in this product, and in this project underneath is that you have contributed labor, land, capital, and entrepreneur. Look here. Now, the cow on my left side is feeding itself by eating what? Grass. And out of that, the milk, the cow will be sent to the milking parlor where there is a person behind there, which is called a labor, to milk the cow, to set the machines to milk the cow. And that milk from that parlor where is supposed to be carried into tanks and bottles there, so that can be transported to the factory to change that raw material, which is milk, to something else, like to milk, to the cheese, and also to the yogurt. And so those yogurts, those products that have taken out from that, produced from the milk factory, are sent back to the milk shop. So that process of that cow to the milk parlor, milk to the truck to the factory to change that milk into milk in a tin, yogurt and the cheese, and also those products, finished products, are being transported to what? To the milk shop. That's very, very important. And you must know that that's a process of production. Now, let's talk about those 4 production factors, where we talk about the land, the labor, capital, and entrepreneur. Now, let's talk about the factors of production, where we talk about the land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. We say land refers to all natural resources such as minerals, forests, and also water. Any free gift of nature is called the natural resources. We come now to the labor. People who are operating those machines at the factory, remember, we said labor is any effort and skill of a man or people who work to produce what? Goods and services. Remember, if those machines are not connected properly by a person whom he or she renders the services of a labor, that milk cannot come out. We also have what is called capital. Capital refers to what? To tools, machinery, and other physical assets used to do what? To produce goods and services. And also we come to the entrepreneur, the person who combines all those factors, that is land, labor, and capital. This person is called the manager, is combining these factors of production, that is land, labor, capital, to what? To make profit, because the purpose of running any business is to do what? Is to make a profit. They identify opportunities, organize resources, and bring new products or services to what? To make to the market, to make what? To make a profit. Let's come now to another term, which is called sustainable use of resources. Sustainability means something that takes a long time in living. Now, in this case, when we talk about resources that are sustainable, it refers to what? To the responsible management of those resources and use them. That is to utilize those resources to meet what? The current needs. Because remember, the purpose is to satisfy the needs of the consumers or the needs of the customers. And also, you need to organize those resources and make them useful and manageable to be utilized to meet those resources or needs by the individuals. Now, what is the meaning of the economic growth? Because out of all these things, the economy needs to grow in a country. Economic growth refers to what? To an increase in the size of the country's economy over a period of time. The size of the economy is typically measured by what? By the total number of goods and services produced. It is measured how many cabbages, for argument's sake, have been produced by a certain farmer, how many milk were produced by a certain farmer. So that it is measured by the total number of goods produced in that particular country over a period of time. Let's say, for argument's sake, between the month of June, where there is a harvest that is happening there, how much or how many total goods produced in that particular period in terms of millis, which is called what? As GDP. And all these terms are being taken care of when we go further at FET. Now, what are the factors that can influence economic growth? Because there are things that can change that growth in the economy, right? The other one is the number of a percentage of unemployment. How many people that are unemployed? If you care to remember and to listen to the radio and TV, every quarter, the Statistics South Africa always give figures of how many people that are not employed, how many people that are employed, percentage. And also the inflation is the factor that can influence economic growth. The interest rate and exchange rate. Interest rate happens where the banks borrowed money and they charge a certain interest in that amount of money borrowed. And the price of a commodity, where the price of oil is going up. If you care to remember, you find that the rand is going down and the price of oil is going up, and the price of petrol goes up also. The steel, the power supply, and also natural resources can all contribute to economic growth. That is to make sure that in the economy there is an improvement by using those particular resources. Right. Let's come now to what is called sustainable economic resources. Remember, we said we're talking about the sustainable development, the development that takes a long time and have an impact to our customers. You have to need to protect the environment that you are using there in that particular farm you are using. Again, you have to improve the progress in social development and also the economic development, the good produced that are being sold in a country have something to contribute in the economic growth of a country. Let's come now to the term productivity. What is productivity? Productivity is the efficiency of production of goods and services expressed by some measure. By calculating productivity, individuals and organizations can identify areas for improvement and optimize their processes to achieve better outcomes. Now, let's come now to this formula. What is productivity in this formula? Let's make an example. In this case, you manage to talk to your neighbor or to any person. You borrow a garden to plow a maize or to plant a maize, right? You buy 1 bag of maize, to plant maize in 2 gardens, for argument's sake. And you'll find that at the end of the harvest, you manage to get 20 bags of maize. That is your output. Remember, your input was what? Was 1 bag. Your input was 1 bag. You plant those millions and you get 20 bags out of those 2 gardens. It means therefore you have received at the end of the harvest 20 bags of millions. Now you divide 20 bags of millions by your 1 bag of millions, you get the total productivity. You produce 1 bag of millions, you got 20 bags at the end of the harvest, you get productivity. So in other words, you have received 20 bags at the end of the harvest. Output divide by input, you get the total amount, the total bags of meal that you have gained after or at the end of the harvest. Now we come to the term technology in the production process. Other people think that technology has come to replace their expertise. It's not like that. Technology can replace anyone if he or she does not use it properly or effectively and depend on technology. Technology comes to collaborate or to assist to whatever we are doing and give us more knowledge. Technology in the production process refers to the application of tools, machines, and methods to improve what? The efficiency, quality, and productivity of goods and services. Right? Technology in production, it refers to what? To the application of tools, the use of tools, machines, the methods to improve efficiency, to improve the speed or the quality, and also productivity of goods and services. That tool you are using is called technology. That tool of, because remember, we were using before in olden days, we were using the typewriter, but today we're using computer that has everything in terms of printers and other tools that you are using at the end of what you're going to do in that particular technology. Now, technology in the production process includes what? Manufacturing technology, such as machine, equipment, and processes to produce physical goods. Now, that manufacturing technology, you use to produce something. You use that machine to get another thing from that. For instance, you are baking bread. You are baking bread. Remember, you have contributed by using input of something like flour, salt, water, and whatever. You use the machine to produce what? Bread. So that technology, because now you are no longer using the physical man of a labor here. You are using what? The machine to produce what? That particular physical good. We come now to automation technology. The use of machinery and computers to complete what? To complete a task. To use something to complete a task. Automation technology. Remember, as of today, we are using technologies to plan, such as computers, to do whatever your test, you write online, you use a computer, you whatever. There are things that are being used over using the automation technology. We come to the third one, automation technology. Is the use of computers, again, and software networks to do what? To process the information that you can use it. So that is what is called the technology in the production process, not replacing what? The physical labor of a man. Technology in the production process. What are the benefits of the technological factor of production? Now, the introduction of technology in the system or into a labor or capital process makes what? The process more quickly. So the technology was introduced to what? To collaborate, I can say so that because it says to make it more quickly, you use technology. Because when it was a man alone, so let's say, for instance, you used to produce 2 bags of potatoes per day. But now the machinery technology has been brought into that kind of work. Now you produce 10 bags of potatoes per day because you are using machines to cultivate or to harvest those particular potatoes. You are using the machine. So it means you produce more when you use technology rather than you are using not it. For example, the use of robots in manufacturing has potential to improve what? Productivity and output. Similarly, the use of kiosks in the self-service restaurant can help firms cut back on the labor costs. People help themselves when they use that is called self-service. They don't ask any assistance from any person. That they do on their own, which means the labor is going to be cut off in terms of that particular exercise. We have come now to an end of the lesson. Thank you. We have come to an end of our lesson for today. You can leave your questions on the comments. Don't forget to leave the name of your school so we can give shout outs. Please share, recommend, and subscribe to your YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. See you on your next lesson. Thank you ever so much. Bye-bye.